Hello, hello. Welcome to the AI Onchain panel. Why don't we start off with some intros? Why don't you guys tell me a little bit about your name, your role, and what your project's doing? I'll start first. My name's Hash. I'm the COO of MCA, or Multichain Advisors. We're a capital growth and marketing company. We also do M&As in this space. We've been around for 4 years. We helped Wormhole, TG, Pip Network, Zeus Network, Momentum, and a bunch of others.
Hi everyone, my name is Jeet Raut. I am the head of strategy and BD at Pi2. We're a next generation Web3 Infra company, and we'll talk plenty about what we do shortly after this.
Hey everyone, I'm Arthur. I'm the CCO at Pearl. Pearl is building the sovereign intelligence layer to allow humans, experts, add their wisdom to data that's used to train AI.
Hi everyone. My name is Lei Lei. I'm VP and head of BD at Kite. This is my fourth ETHDenver here, but it's always a great crowd, great energy. And I'm excited to improve my skiing skills after the end of ETHDenver. Kite, we are focused on being the AI payments blockchain and really working on building AI native infrastructure to support the Agentic Economy.
Hey everyone, this is my first time in Denver and myself Gatin, and I'm DevRel lead at Zero G Labs. So Zero G is the first decentralized AI operating system, which is like an infrastructure to bring AI on chain. I would love to speak more during this panel.
Yeah. Awesome. So why don't we start with the elephant in the room? Obviously, this market's pretty uncertain. There's a lot going on, lots of doom and gloom. When we're looking at the current geopolitical and current economic uncertainties, where are you guys prioritizing your efforts going into the next couple months when it comes to AI? And what is the silver lining in this that people are missing?
Yeah, so I'd say that if you look at what's happening right now with OpenClaw, Moldbook, I'm sure people have seen the crazy amount of growth over the last couple weeks, right? We're getting millions of agents online very quickly. People are fully recognizing the benefit of AI automation into their workflows. And so while I would say that yes, the token economy has certainly taken a hit, the amount of just interest and excitement in the AI space is massive. But at the same time, AI agents currently don't have good ways to pay each other or just access microservices, right? Some people have tried to do things like, go ahead, use my credit card. But that's incredibly insecure, right? Very easy to do a prompt injection to extract keys, any sensitive information away. So all that to say, the markets, though the vibes might not be as strong or down a bit, I think it's going to be an extremely, extremely big year for AI and payments specifically in the AI space.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a tough market, but ultimately I think it's a good thing for real builders in the sense that a lot of the liquidity has sort of flowed away from, what's the new narrative of the week, where we sort of hop to some new project, every single week or every month, towards projects that are building, real infrastructure that's being used for AI. So, ultimately, I do think it is, a tough market, but it's good for real builders.
Yeah, I think echoing what Jeet and Arthur said, we feel the same way. So, markets come and go, but just like Jeet said, I think we're really at an inflection point. You see that with OpenClaw and the proliferation of AI agents on chain. But really, there's a lot of concerns about, is it secure? How do I put guardrails around this, especially when agents are moving not just from reasoning and research, but on to execution. And so that's something that we're really focused on and why we've ventured to build an AI agent native infrastructure. So things from, micropayments are huge with agents. So agents are looking to access, for example, data, and they can pay per call or pay per token. So zero fee gas fees or low gas fees are really important. So that's a feature that we have as part of our blockchain. And also, I think it's really important to separate kind of the different authorities. So there's a human. As a human, I want an agent to transact on behalf of me. But there is what we call a three-tier architecture, which we're very focused on. So one is the human, the second is the agent, and so human delegates authority or delegates wallet payments to the agent. And then there's a third part, which is sessions, which is time bounds or spending limits that the agent has in order to complete a transaction. So, agents and models hallucinate all the time, and I think it's really important to look at on-chain verification, identification, and also resolve disputes based on observing how they behave. So, that's something that we're really excited about.
Yep, I think most of the points are already covered, but maybe I'll just add on to the adoption part, which even with the market, like we see even including our team, like everyone are involved in vibe coding, whether it's marketing or whether it's BD, like everyone are trying to make their processes much more efficient by building some solutions to, which in turn makes the overall infrastructure requirements better. So by for example, if we do some internal vibe coding and our team is learning on how we can make things much more efficient, so we are able to figure out what things that we can make much more better, whether it may be in our infrastructure or whether it may be things that can make builders' lives easier to build and adapt our network, or it can be even like small things like partner integrations. So these are some day-to-day tasks that this market helps us to like double down and focus and make it ready when the market is better for much more opportunities. But this is a good place to learn and build. And yeah, that's how I see this market as.
There you go, guys. There's hope. So that's great, and I really appreciate the diverse set of answers on what you guys are seeing. That's positive. The next question I have is around centralization versus on-chain. So centralized AI systems offer scale, performance, and distribution. What shifts need to happen technically or economically for AI to come on-chain more efficiently and smoothly?
Yeah, I think a big part of this is verification, right? Currently, a lot of AI is a black box. There's inputs in, things happen. It's non-deterministic. That's just how AI systems work. And then you get an output. I think as time goes on, and especially things happen and they need to be on chain, we'll actually need a lot more verification of instances of things happening. Something at PySquare that we're very focused on, our founder, Grigori Rosu, is one of the world experts in formal verification. So he's built out systems for NASA, DARPA. He actually formally verified Ethereum. So these formal verification methods is actually something we believe that AI needs actually more than anything else, just to make sure that what it's actually doing is what it's claiming it's doing, and to make it a lot more, like in terms of chains of custody of like what's actually happening on chain. We need little triggers and verifications to make sure all those things are happening correctly.
Yeah, I think to sort of see the next step of evolution for crypto and AI in tandem, we're really going to need to see more utilization in the real world, in the sense that I think OpenClaw was sort of the first example of AI operating outside of a very sandboxed environment. So we saw a lot of adversarial situations occur. And I think as that sort of expands into military use cases or robotics, where there can be no mistakes because mistakes mean real people get hurt, or the economic impact is a lot greater. I think people are going to put a lot more emphasis on being able to verify where this data came from, who verified it, and how we can sort of avoid things like adversarial attacks or data poisoning, because that's the point where it is a lot more interesting for, let's say, like a nation state or a bad actor to try to infiltrate or feed a specific model bad data so that they can start to influence decisions, whether it be at the government level, at the corporate level, and beyond.
I think there were great points already, and pretty much I think the same. Centralization always improves efficiency. They have high capability, but it's very scary because you don't know what's happening behind the scenes, and you see these big fights between like OpenAI and Anthropic. And we've talked about it, I think, quite a lot already. But with OpenClaw or Claude, I think even today there was a big, news going out on Twitter that went viral, talking about how the government has put Claude as like a major security risk, and it related to Palantir as well. So having that on-chain verifiability and more open source environment, I think, is incredibly important as we think about how to embrace AI in a safer world. And with all technology, you see, the evolution over time, like from industrial revolution to desktop, mobile. Now we're in the AI era. We always have to think about how we evolve versus the technology we're building, but also how to create it in a safe environment.
Oh yeah. So just to add on to like the verifiability. So with, for example, I'll just give you an example. What was the problem that we solved at 0G? So the big problem with the centralized one is like a complete black box. You aren't aware of the training data, how the data is being procured, like what are the different mechanisms used to train the data, like what is the inferencing cost, what is the inferencing provided, what is the actual cost of inferencing, and what is the cost provided to you, and how the data is being censored. So you aren't aware of any other details on it. For example, you just, very simple example is that you just ask which is the best shoe in the market, and the centralized provider gives you this X brand as the best shoe. So what if that brand paid a hefty amount for the centralized provider to market it out? So there isn't no proper verifiability or transparency that you can find out. So that is where this plays a big role. And with 0G, we are just trying to build a complete infrastructure for you to bring AI on chain. So that solves from the basic problem that you need to store huge amounts of data. And for that amount, you need a dedicated storage layer. And on top of that, we have verifiable inferencing. And we do have like TEML. So you could just think of it a place which is completely on-chain. You can train your data sets. You can store your models on-chain. And the output that is provided by the models, you will be able to verify it and make sure that it was processed in a trusted environment and it wasn't tampered by any other external force when the user gives the input and receives the output. So this is like a complete cycle or a place which will solve all the issues that you face with like a black box centralized AI agent or like a chatbot provider.
So it seems to me that AI and decentralization is a match made in heaven. So that's wonderful. Why don't we talk about how AI is being used in your core business? So AI could be used for compute, data, applications, and coordination. Where are you guys using AI in your core business, and why are you focused on that area?
One of the more interesting things that we've done in the last couple of weeks is, as an organization, every single member of our team has an OpenClaw instance. So we're doing things like team updates, CRM management, task management. The bots are communicating with each other. We've seen it even in a couple of weeks, like a huge improvement, even in terms of productivity amongst our teams themselves. And like, it's so nice to be able to, I honestly, like everything just set up in Slack. So I just do like almost everything in Slack. I can do almost all my work there. And the ability for it to automate the communication with other agents, coordinate with them. I mean, we think about dog fooding all the time, right? Like, and I was an AI founder 15 years ago or 13 years ago in the medical space for cancer diagnosis as well. But the difference between what was available back then with like the first generations of CNNs versus now, it's just day and night. And just the productivity benefit is finally here. So just beyond actually building out, agentic payments, seeing the power of the technology as we use it is just a reminder that, oh, wow, the agents do actually need to pay each other, because that's kind of probably the biggest missing thing that I'm seeing now.
Yeah, I think being in the data annotation space, we obviously see a lot of customer data. And what's surprising to a lot of people is that these enterprises individually have tens if not hundreds of times more data than ChatGPT 4 was trained on. And so as we sort of get into that scale of data internally, we use AI for a number of things, one being pre-labeling. So obviously we need the human feedback, right? That's what makes this data valuable and useful for AI training. But we're able to use AI to abstract a lot of the steps away. So basically we have AI give the first attempt, and then a real human expert, whether that be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, go in at the final step and say either this is correct or this is incorrect and here's how we can fix it. And beyond that, as we get to the scale of millions of annotators and a lot more data, we use AI to sort of think about how we can most efficiently route specific tasks to specific experts. So we need to be able to know who's the best at this piece of legal data compared to a different piece of legal data. And so AI is a huge factor in that.
Being at the blockchain level, we're naturally focused on the coordination of different AI agents, AI applications. And we think that, as the world moves from not just human to agent interactions, but increasingly autonomous agent to agent interactions, it's really important to be able to have that infrastructure in place so that agents can interact at scale, as well as with a lot of the safeguards that we've mentioned in place.
On the infrastructure basis, as we are also an infrastructure provider, so we see AI mostly on like the amount of models that you will be able to host and providing a platform where you will be able to host models with much more high parameters. For example, recently our team did a research and it's called as DialocoX. With that, we have uploaded 100 billion plus parameter model using Office internet bandwidth. So these are some improvements that we are doing, which will enable dApps or like other infrastructure providers to use, and they will be able to utilize our different LLM providers. And other than that, just on the day-to-day basis, we use it for much more efficient market research and also to make the overall analytics better. So that is how we use it on a day-to-day basis.
That's four different ways these leaders in the space are using AI, so hopefully it encourages you guys to use it as well. This is my favorite question because it's about multi-chain. But as we go into multi-chain environment and AI is being used across chain, how's that going to affect the way you guys approach things and execute? And what are the challenges you see when intelligence goes multi-chain?
Yeah, so one of the core features of what we're building out is called AllSat. What it basically does is it's a liquidity layer that provides liquidity access just in time across all these different chains. So what we do is basically we can verify transactions on all of the chains right now. So we have this currently running on Optimism, Mega ETH, Ethereum, and then so basically we can have someone sign on our network fast, and then it can trigger actions on other chains to move multi-chain. So the benefit here is that you get we have incredibly fast execution speed, sub 100 millisecond finality. So with that, we can easily tap into all these different assets around the entire crypto ecosystem. And the nice thing there specifically is that it can work with any ecosystem. It's not necessarily an EVM thing. We can work with all EVM chains, Solana, anything else out there as well. So we feel as though we're complementing a lot of the technology, right? We can, with the ability to move liquidity around, we can enable a lot of DeFi use cases. And I think that over time, right, we'll see a lot of chains. I've been in the space since like 2016. And then obviously a lot of people built out general purpose chains, right, especially on the L1 space. I think as we actually get to that point now, we'll have very specific technical implementations and specifications around basically highly opinionated decisions for specs in the chain that will greatly influence what people are trying to do with it. Basically the option thesis. Where this really does matter though is that even if you have that, you're still going to need access to liquidity. So we feel as though our solution here is something that allows any chain to quickly provide any other chain liquidity. It's just something that we're just all going to need, and especially for agents doing so many different payments.
Yeah, I think for Pearl, AI going multi-chain is a great thing. Obviously, human intelligence is agnostic to chain. So in that sense, we're able to expand our network pretty greatly. So we're able to access annotators across different fields who live in different chains, as well as start working on different agents and models that are deployed across networks. And so what that means for us is that we just get a more diverse range of feedback that's really, really valuable to a lot of these model builders.
Even though we are a chain, we definitely believe in a multi-chain world. And I think, the chain tribalism is really a thing of the past. And as I think some of the other panelists alluded to, AI does not care what chain they're on. They just want to finish their goals. So I think that's why for us, it's really important to adhere to some of the key standards out there. So, we have natively integrated X402. We are working with the Ethereum Foundation team to deploy ERC 8004 identity registries on chain. And also we're a partner with Google's AP2 as well. So I think we are, definitely very open to working with other chains. And I think that is the world we live in now.
Got it. So yeah, it's being the last in the panel is always like all the topics are covered. But maybe I'll just give a quick word on like our stack is completely modular. As I mentioned earlier, so we have different components. So we have the chain, we have like the storage, we have the compute where the verifiable inferencing takes place. We have the data availability layer as well. So all these we made sure that it is modular in stack, so that we aren't forcing them to just stay in our ecosystem. We are EVM compatible. Still, we aren't forcing them to use the complete stack. So they can use things based on their requirements. If they just need the inferencing part, they will be able to use that as a modular stack, or just the storage which is capable of holding large-scale AI models, which is cheaper and as well as having better throughput. So yeah, that's one of the things that we are focusing and making sure that it gives them an opportunity to try multiple chains and also to utilize the part that actually makes sense to the most of their requirements.
Well, it's time to turn up the heat. What's our spicy takes on AI right now?
Yeah, so probably my spiciest take is actually blockchains are not the best way to do agentic payments. So we're built on something called an eventual consistency network. So in 2019, basically a paper came out describing how you can solve the double spend problem without a consensus protocol. And that's what we're built on. So right now, we're at 150,000 TPS, sub 100 millisecond latency. The goal by the end of the year, once we optimize for TPS, is over 1 million. So we feel as though that's the kind of scale that you need to actually do agentic payments well. Excuse me. And yeah, I think we're one of the only people building that. So yeah, that's my hot take.
Yeah, I think our hot take is that we're more or less out of quality training data for AI in like a year or so. And I know there's plenty of data out there, and obviously the data being created is always expanding, especially as everyone's on the internet. But a lot of our team talks to some of the frontier labs and robotics labs every day. And what we're starting to realize is like the age of being able to license random internet data and feed it into your model and just pray that it works out is really starting to slow down. And so, I think one of the more novel use cases right now is around robotics. And a lot of the teams are telling us that all the data that they're trying to go license basically does nothing for their models. And so they have to build completely new pipelines to be able to collect useful data. And so that's something, that hasn't necessarily been established. And, it's not something we're able to do in mass yet. So I do think in the next 12, 18 months, we're going to see a lot more focus on very novel and very specific pieces of data.
My hot take is that AI agents are coming, so be ready. And I think of a few viral posts that I've seen shared quite a lot recently, which just kind of demonstrates the speed of growth in the market. One was a Will Smith video comparing the video that was like made by AI, I think back in 2022 versus this year, and you can see the distortions in his face from like 2022 versus now, and it's just like the video quality is so good, which really shows you how far it's come. There's another one. It's actually Chinese New Year's, and so for anyone who celebrates, happy Chinese New Year's. But there is a Unitree robotic performance that's also went viral on Twitter, and compares just last year versus now. And you can see the movement in the robots really being very, very impressive, and they're performing like a martial arts segment in the Lunar Festival Gala, which is the biggest show for the kind of Asian world. And then the third one is Seed Dance, if you guys have seen it. Just some of the video qualities that can come out and be made very quickly is incredible. So be ready.
Okay, so my take is that your social media is going to be irrelevant in a few days. All the pictures that you take, all the natural videos that you want to share with the socials, like all the content that you want to like drop down on iterate and share it with the social media, it's all going to be relevant after a certain point. I am really unsure like how things are going to be after that, whether there will be a lot of verifiability coming into it, or people just, there is no difference between like artificial content and like natural content. So yeah, that's something which I'm really curious to see how it turns out to be. And one other take is that the complete supply chain or like large scale government or like big processing plants is completely autonomous and things might go rogue. So there must be a lot of control that needs to be given towards the humans. And yeah, these are like two things that are my takes on this future of this.
Wonderful hot takes. Exciting times we're going into with the rapid innovation of AI. I know the audience is dying to know what you guys are working on. So what's an update, integration, or something that you're working on the couple months coming that you guys are really excited to talk about?
Yeah, we'll have our mainnet coming up here soon in Q2. So yet again, everything I'm talking about, right? The speed, the finality, being able to get that on chain. We believe we have the fastest X402 implementation in the world. So yeah, we're really excited just to get that out in the hands, if you will, of agents more than anything else, just because we want to really show off the speed and power of the technology that we built.
Yeah, I think on the Pearl side, obviously our human contributor network is growing really, really rapidly, and we're always releasing new tasks. So make sure just to keep updated and keep contributing towards training AI.
We're also launching our mainnet in about a month, but it's not just a mainnet launch. I think we think of it as a mainnet / launch partners and ecosystem growth. So we'll be launching with about 30 launch partners and natively growing our agentic ecosystem. So from agent launch pads to trading agents, and really focusing on agent payments as a first-class citizen. And then here in ETHDenver, we are starting our first series of basically hackathons. So for any developers in the audience, we're one of the official partners and offering bounties, and our focus use cases will be agentic commerce and trading agents, and we'll be also hosting our online hackathon soon after ETHDenver. So more to come.
First of all, congratulations for you both for the mainnet launch. This gives me nostalgia of last September, how intense it was. It was a period that you never forget, at least for the next few years, for the mainnet launch, so it was very intense. So yeah, so what Zero G is focusing on for the next couple of months at least is to double down on the vibe coding narrative. So we are making our documentations, our infrastructure as agent friendly as possible. For example, we just launched Cloud Skills, we just launched the Zero G Code to Coin, which is like a platform where you can directly interact with, it's an MCP for you to easily interact with the Zero G network. So we are doing like a few other initiatives and a lot of zero coding events. So vibe coding with Zero G becomes zero coding. So that is how we are trying to take this narrative forward and making it as friendly for the builders to vibe code and ship a lot of stuff on Zero G, as well as learn vibe coding through Zero G. So that is how we are focusing the next couple of months.
Awesome. I want to thank the guests over here. You guys are building some awesome stuff. For the audience, please follow these guys, and good luck on the main nets for you too. And for the other guys, keep crushing it. The builders keep shipping.
Thank you so much.